Okay, so here we're going in with our red acrylic, just making the shape of the eye. I am using Slickpour Pasta from Young Nails for this. Once you've got the eye shape, we're then going in with our black acrylic, really butting that up to the edges of the eye. I've decided to use a black glittery acrylic powder here. Again, this is from the actual Slickpour collection. I can't think of the name of it at the moment. So you just want to be working really, really wet. Make sure that you obviously stay in control of the product so it's not too wet, and you just are moving it around on the nail, working quite thin. When you're working around the cuticle, make sure that you are really, really neat, because later on we will be making that perfect. And if you are a little bit messy around there, you will actually file off your black acrylic and that won't look very appealing. So just make sure you take your time around the cuticle to make sure that's nice and flush. Also try and avoid getting any of the black acrylic on your red eye. If you do, just simply wipe that off, because we won't be finished filing this before we actually cap it in clear. So now I'm just taking a large bead of clear acrylic and we're just going to cap this nail just to add some strength and structure. I have been working quite thin, and you just need to make sure that you do still remain thin with this. You don't want that nail to be really, really big and bulky. The 3D work will come later on. Make sure you check all angles and ensure that that nail has the right amount of acrylic on it. So I've just gone in and finish filed this nail, making sure that my cuticle is flush, that my side balls are straight, everything is exactly how it needs to be. Now once you've finished that, I'm just going to grab a lint-free wipe with some acetone on it. Now I'm using acetone because that will actually smooth out the nail and any of the indents from the file. Now you can see here I have got a black outline around the eye. I cut that out because I realized that you don't actually need to do it at this step, and we will do it again a little bit later on. So just ignore that part. What I'm using is a dotting tool with a no wipe gel soakable top coat. So we're just going to go around the red eye with this no wipe top coat, making sure that we have a nice even coverage before we cure. Secure as per your manufacturer's instructions. Once that's cured, I'm then actually rubbing in my unicorn pigment. So depending on which one you have, you might have a different effect. So have a little bit of a play beforehand. After we rub that in, then going in again with our no wipe top coat and just making sure that all of that pigment is actually encapsulated over that eye. This step is really, really important. So again, I've cured it. Now I'm taking a lint-free wipe with some cleanser on it, and I'm just rubbing off any excess pigment that we no longer need that was on that nail. Taking my Mission Control black gel paint, I am also now going in and creating the outline around the eye. Make sure you use a really fine art brush for this. If you do have the Mission Control gel paints, use the brush that came in the kit because it's absolutely perfect. Okay, after that's been cured, then come in and we're going to create the eyeball. Once we've created our eyeball, we have cured that again. Just coming in with some acrylic paint that has been watered down a little bit. And I'm just going to create a bit of accents in the eye. So if the white still isn't watered down enough and it's still a bit too bright, you can just add a little bit more water to that just to disperse a bit of the color. And if you accidentally get a little bit too much, you can just wipe the brush off on a lint-free pad and then tap and wipe and tap and wipe and tap, as the brush will then actually absorb the excess liquid so you have a really subtle highlight. Then create a few little squiggles for the eye vessels and then cure again. Once that acrylic paint is now dry, we're then going to come in and use some builder gel. So being very careful to make sure that you are only applying the builder gel to the eye that you want to raise. Making sure that you're very thin around the edges, and in the middle you try and bring it to a peak. Now what I did here is we flipped the nail upside down to really draw that gel to a peak, and then we're going to cure for about 15 seconds upside down just to make sure that peak stays in place. After we've done that, we're going to flip it over and cure it again for the full 60 seconds. Now I'm bringing in my top coat just to really highlight the black acrylic. And once we've finished applying that, again, we're going to cure.